Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. And check this out.
Why do you believe FTX failed?
I have an opinion. I don't have the records. Here it is. These two behemoths that own the unregulated market together and grew these incredible businesses in terms of growth were at war with each other. And one put the other out of business intentionally. Now, maybe there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe there's nothing wrong with love and war. But Binance is a massive, unregulated global monopoly now. They put FTX out of business.
Why do you believe FTX?
Now that is a very hefty accusation, but what just happened is Kevin O'Leary basically said that Binance has been the entity that has orchestrated the whole entire FTX collapse. Obviously, it is not fair. I think everybody agrees with that, because if FTX was doing so well, then all this couldn't have happened, or actually in any way, if FTX was fine, if only Binance didn't do all this, then most likely Sam Bankman-Fried's responses would be kind of different, and also he wouldn't be in jail right now. He wouldn't be arrested. Now, that is one part. However, things have gotten, when I say they've gotten pretty damn crazy. Take a look at this article right here, guys. It's wild. It's wacky. FTX and Alameda executives exchanged sensitive information in wire fraud chat prior to the collapse. So, as far as I understand, these guys literally got themselves a group chat and were like, this is a smart idea. Let us discuss wire fraud in this group chat. This is crazy. Now, before we go on, guys, make sure you press that like button if you enjoy the news and all this in the crypto space. This is wacky. This guy was such a mastermind in dumbassery. I don't know what's wrong. So the executives at FTX and Alameda reportedly were exchanging secret information using a signal chat group called Wire Fraud. Now, I kind of hope that this is just a headline and that this is all a lie, but apparently a new report from the Australian Financial Review indicates FTX founders Sam Bankman-Fried, Gary Wang, and Nishad Singh, a former director of engineering of Alameda, and Caroline Allison used to use a group chat to send encrypted info about operations. Bankman-Fried has denied the story on Twitter Monday afternoon. He says, if this is true, then I wasn't a member of that inner circle. I'm quite sure it's just false. I've never heard of such a group. The denial turned out to be the disgraced co-founder's final tweet before he was arrested by the authorities. And again, he's now being charged for, I think, 6 different things, including, I believe, securities fraud and wire fraud and whatnot. 6 counts of fraud, 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering, and 1 additional count of conspiracy to defraud in the United States and the campaign finance laws. And within those fraud charges, it's include conspiracy to commit wire fraud on customers, wire fraud on lenders, commodities fraud, and securities fraud. And then also we obviously have the SEC's separate charges for defrauding investors. That is all pretty wacky. Right now, there's actually another theory going around that Kevin O'Leary is being blackmailed by Sam Bankman-Fried. Again, I cannot confirm that this is the truth. I'm just reporting on the fact that this is something that's kind of trendy right now. People are circulating this around, and it's interesting. Crypto T had a full-on story about why this might be the case, but since I still find that all this doesn't really make too much sense, I'm not going to cover it too much in depth. It's because I don't want to throw him in front of the boat if we can't be sure. Do I think Sam Bankman-Fried has had some really bad actions? And do I think he deserves jail, literally? Yes, I believe if you defraud investors, you deserve to go to jail, period. And I'm actually very angry at the fact that they didn't get him sooner, if it turns out that it's all true, which it looks like it is. Did Kevin O'Leary do much more? It depends. At the end of the day, I can look at the guy, look at these stories and think, off to jail you go. But at the end of the day, if he was a paid spokesperson, all he did was get a payday. And it just depends on the extent of the manipulation. It just depends on how much he was pulling the strings and how much he was involved trying to keep the story afloat. But think about it from your own damn perspective for a second. Let's say you're Kevin. You're getting $15 million per year or something along those lines. Just to kind of say, hey, I like FTX. If all of a sudden that deal goes down, logically you're going to be like, Well, but I think they were pretty good because you're getting $15 million a year from them. Obviously, he's going to say that. So can we really blame the guy for taking a lot of freaking money? At least not. We know he's taking a lot of money. So we just have to take everything he says with a couple grains of salt. And the idiots that can't see through that, unfortunate, but c'est la vie. I don't trust the guy for anything. If I met him, I'd be really nice to him because in terms of investments, I think he's a genius. He's done incredibly well. He's incredibly successful. But I can't just trust his words on, oh, I like him or oh, I don't like him. Because at the end of the day, this all might be yet another stunt. So credibility, boom, down the drain. But does he really deserve jail or should we really go assume that he's being blackmailed? That I do not know because, well, I think it's quite logical that the fact that he got, let's say for example, $15 million just to talk some good, that he's just going to talk good regardless of what happens around him because he always says, he just cares about the money. So it might not even be blackmail. It might just be, well, he got a good payday, so he wants to talk good about him. On a completely different note, let's take a look at two more videos. Here's one from Charles Hoskinson talking about a settlement. Talking about the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit, by the way.
Forth, I would believe that then Ethereum and Bitcoin would also be securities and they'd be in a bigger debacle. And this problem with regulations through enforcement, there's not much you can do. Just any given Sunday, it's whoever the regulator decides to pick. And then there's a big fight. $100 million is spent. It's brutal and vicious and a lot of hard feelings. And sometimes people win, sometimes people don't. I've heard rumors that the Ripple case will be settled December 15th, and we'll just see. And that could have catastrophic implications for the industry, one way or the other. But, you just keep moving forward. Regardless of what happens, it's a decentralized ecosystem that you guys control. And the United States of America doesn't get to say that Cardano lives or dies. You do. The world.
Yeah, so that's another rumor that's been floating around. And I mean, honestly, it kind of goes two ways. So Anders here says Charles can go screw himself with a statement that a Ripple settlement would be catastrophic. And he says the rumor is false. The guy is spiteful against the XP community, so don't believe the rumor. If there was a settlement next week, we'd be seeing signs in the market would say so. Point being, there's not necessarily any settlement happening tomorrow. There's nothing that really indicates that as far as I'm concerned. But the bigger implication here is that if they were to settle, that'd be bad for the entirety of crypto. Well, tough shits on you, my buddy. So this is often a thing that I like to discuss. It is where were you when this all started? Where was the support of Ripple when it all was happening? This is going to be a recurring theme in the next couple of years still. Regardless of the outcome of the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit, many actors didn't do enough. Guys like Charles Hoskinson have been critical, partially rightfully so. Anybody can be critical to anything, I don't mind. However, you cannot then state that a settlement would be catastrophic, because at the end of the day, a settlement in a case like Ripple's versus the SEC would basically put us back to square one, which is that there's been no real legal precedent on crypto, except for maybe the things that happen on the sideline, like library and whatnot. But everything that happened in the Ripple case stays in the Ripple case then. How could that be catastrophic if, well, you didn't support Ripple anyway? Otherwise, if you did support them, why not help out? Why not be out there as well protesting and whatnot? And I'm not talking protesting with a big sign. You guys understand my drift. Why not write a lot of memos, for example, or I guess documents in support and trying to kind of lobby for that? I didn't see that happening. So then I think it's kind of hypocritical to say, oh no, if they were to go settle, that would be bad. Why exactly would that be? Because then that would mean that XRP is a properly regulated crypto, which rightfully it has the right to. And every other crypto then that's fine will also figure it out perfectly fine on their own, right? I mean, apparently they don't deserve help following, statements from... So then they should also be fine on their own, getting the lawsuits that the SEC will inevitably get to them to fix that and come out on top, I guess, right? Couple little pieces. The Federal Reserve interest rate. We talked about this already in the live stream, but it went up by about 50 basis points. They've slowed it down, but the big question is, how long will it stay at the top and how high eventually will it go? Not the rate. It doesn't matter. 0.75, 0.5, it doesn't matter that much because, well, if it still goes on to, let's say, 6.5, then if they're going to do it in 0.25 increments or 0.5 increments or 0.75, well, it all just depends on how long they stay at that level for, not how quickly they get to the ultimate level. These said that the measures in which they're combating inflation were not as fruitful as they had originally anticipated, so they're going to have to kind of go harder at it, which basically means that they have to go at it for longer amounts of time. And a little side note as well, MetaMask and PayPal joined forces to offer crypto on-ramp to select users. My PayPal account got blocked. They didn't like me. Apparently there were some mistakes in my account and just kicked me off. I had a lot of money stuck in there for a couple weeks because they didn't want to accept my KYC. I'm not saying they refused it, they just didn't want to check it. I had to go through multiple calls and multiple loopholes to finally get my account verified. And then after being verified, we noticed that there were still errors, so that my account got blocked. It was unblocked and it got blocked again. So I'm kind of done with PayPal. I'm kind of fully crypto now, so I don't need this on or off ramp that they're trying to offer me. But for the general crypto peoples, I'd say that's good. And then there's also one video from Jeremy Hogan that I quickly want to showcase to you guys. Final SEC versus Ripple predictions from attorney Jeremy. Just a little quick part of the bigger video for you guys.
So, in conclusion, the legal brief's official lawsuit prediction is a 50.12% chance of a Ripple win, a 29.88% chance the SEC wins with a possible Ripple loss but win in there, a 19.11% chance of a draw this round with a trial in 2023, and a 5 to 7% chance of something unexpected. In other words, there's a 110.6% chance of something happening shortly. And finally, when will we know the outcome of the case? My friend, attorney James Filan, says it will happen on or before March 31, 2023. And if that's what he says, that is what it is. So,
yeah, when it's going to end is a question that we see very often. It just makes sense for it to be over within the next 3 months or so. Nobody, of course, can make guarantees. And again, it is still very likely that Ripple will win. There's, of course, a couple of negative sides to it. And you got to understand, I am not a legal advisor. I can't tell you the probabilities. I can't tell you anything. But what I can tell you is that in almost any one of these outcomes, Ripple still wins. And again, even if the SEC comes out victorious of the lawsuit, it depends on the exact wording of what the ruling is. For example, okay, Ripple has to pay $100 million fine. XRP is now properly regulated cryptocurrency. However, at some point in the past, it was not. So therefore, you've been fined. Is that a win or a loss? Well, on the history side, it's going to be a loss. In reality, XRP is now fine. It's a properly regulated crypto. It's good. So that's a win. But on paper, there's going to be a loss and a win for the SEC, right? So it just depends on the exact phrasing of everything. That's why it's saying winning or losing is kind of like, All that matters is, will XRP come out of this alive? And I personally think everything is pointing towards a fruitful and beautiful XRP year next year. But that was it for today's video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys again in another crypto video later today.